Hello, everybody. Tanner Milne here with your tool of the week. Probably more the idea, principle of the week, but I wanted to find a great quote on communication. And here's a great one from Stephen R. Covey. Communication is the most important single activity of mankind. The story that brought me to want to talk about this, we had an incident with our family car where we left some food in the car and it produced a very unbearable odor. And so I needed to get our car detailed. And the long story short, I went with a new detailer, and my wife was like, "What happened to so-and-so?" And I said, I couldn't deal with him. He's great. He does great work. But literally, I looked back. I've texted this guy probably 12 times. Never once has he texted back. My text is returned with a call. And I'm like, it just drives me nuts. I couldn't set up the appointment. Everything had to be on the voice. He had to physically talk to me. He couldn't just say, "I've got an opening on Tuesday, da 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 da." And I mean, as the customer, I'm like, you know what? I couldn't, for this circumstance, having had it taken care of last week, I just couldn't deal with that. And so I want to use that personal example to kind of get into the principle this week. So how do your customers or clients want to be communicated with? I'm not asking what your personal preference is. I want to know what their preference is, because everyone has, I've got my preferences, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But what is their preference? Have you asked them? Do you know exactly what their preference is? And then how do you communicate? And so I'm going to give you some tips, and this is a topic I'm very passionate about, as you can see. And but here's the traditional channels, and I want you to think about this coming week: a call, a text, a voicemail. And I'm not just saying a voicemail, but do you leave a detailed voicemail about what exactly you need, what information you need, or what information you need to convey? Or are they waiting on you? And especially in the service industry, like, the phone tag game is impossible, when sometimes they have a question they didn't answer. Leverage voicemail, and then voice text. I send at least a few a day, and people are like, "Oh, I've never sent one of those." If you have an Apple phone or an Android phone, you can send a voice text with asynchronous voice. And if you've never done one of those before, this is your week to send an asynchronous voice text for the first time. If you interact with me a lot, you're going to hear some more. I actually just wrote about this. I'm not trying to push anyone towards a blog that's read by, I think, like a total of 6 or 7 people. But I just wrote a piece in the last month or so about how I personally absolutely hate email, but I get it. People still love it, but I personally hate email. If you want to hear my rant, you're welcome to read that piece. But here's some non-traditional. If you're in my world, and I've tried to convert you to Slack or Voxer, I love asynchronous voice. And if I can't get you over to one of these mediums, then I'm going to send you an asynchronous text message. But Voxer, Slack, we've used Slack as a company, and now you can send asynchronous voice. What I love about Voxer and Slack versus a voice text is you cannot speed up. You can't listen to it in 2 or 3x. 4 is kind of impossible. WhatsApp has an awesome voice feature, asynchronous voice feature, if you use WhatsApp. Marco Polo's video, say asynchronous video, and I'm leaving email on there because I want to make sure and continue to emphasize that I absolutely hate email. If you want if you want to take a look at, I've talked about some of these things in the past. Here's I'll link to you can read more about it, but communicate better with those in the way they want to be communicated with. And I just believe you're going to enhance the relationship. Have a fantastic week.